Hi, everybody. Welcome to the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today, special edition, we are talking about processing, how to improve your processing, whether you're a quarterback, whether you're a play caller, offense coordinator, position coach. I think this applies potentially to all of those roles. Fired up for this one. Let's dive into it. Welcome to the QB School. So how do you improve your capacity to process offensive football? I think this is going to touch on a number of different buckets, and I really want to be able to kind of differentiate from the jump here exactly what we're trying to do. This is really going to talk about and focus on off-season, the capacity to increase your ability to process. This is that time of year, draft season, post-draft season. This guy's a great processor. He's got to work on his processing. The game's too slow. The game's too fast. Those types of things that I think I've always used to wonder, well, how the hell do you work on that? What are they actually talking about? What does it mean? So we're going to pull that apart, talk about exactly what that looks like. And so at the end of the day, your capacity to process from the quarterback position, from the play caller role, really takes on a few different things. It starts, in my opinion, with pattern recognition. And so I talk about this a lot of different ways and a lot of different avenues across this channel, these courses that I offer. But your capacity to recognize patterns in defensive football and then apply it to your specific offense will significantly increase your capacity to process from the quarterback and play calling role. And so there are a few different ways that we're going to talk about specifically how to do it today. Some of these could be applicable in season, and I'll talk about how I used to do them in season, but really the focus here is off season, increasing your capacity to process. And so taking kind of that abstract term and breaking it down into kind of tangible, usable drills and exercises that can help you elevate your game through this processing process. So what does it look like? Well, first, before we jump into it, let's talk assumptions. So this is obviously going to talk a little bit about some of the assumptions that I think that you need to have or should have coming into a video like this. I'm not going to sit down and break down every single type of coverage, every type of kind of way to identify coverages, whether it's man, zone, combo coverages, different types of match coverages, different iterations of pressure, different shells, all those types of things. If you're coming into this with absolutely zero understanding of that, there are probably better videos somewhere else, maybe on this channel, maybe somewhere else, to bring you up to speed. But this video is designed for people who can speak at least some element of universal football. And so that means not just, hey, we run, this, we call it this is the only way to do it. That's just not the case. So you have to have at least the bones, the underlying structure to be able to understand and speak football from a universal principled standpoint. That's kind of the main assumption to be able to jump into it. And then I think as you're able to speak more, have different languages of football in your lexicon to understand, I think it will just accelerate your process to be able to increase your capacity to process from the quarterback position or the play calling position. And really, it's the same type of thing, in my opinion, because you're trying to identify tells, give you clues that allow you to play faster, make quicker decisions, be more precise in your kind of thought process. Now, that's just really one part of it. The other part of it, once you identify the pattern recognition of the defense, is you obviously, this is a massive assumption, you have to have a mastery level of what you're doing offensively. So if you don't have that mastery level of your system, what you're running, what your coaches are asking you to do, what you're coaching your coaches to do, well, then you're going to come up to a bit of a wall as far as what this process looks like to increase your capacity to process in these roles. And so you need to go out and certainly work towards that level of mastery within your own system, whatever that system is. But just realize whatever that system is, that's not the only system. And to be able to speak a universal level of ball that allows you to kind of take advantage of what this looks like. And so we're really going to talk about 3 specific ways to increase your capacity to process from the quarterback position. We're going to talk about how you can watch film in the offseason to elevate your capacity to process. Then we're going to talk about exactly how you can take it to the field to be able to do it. And then how you can not only take it to the field, but before you get to the field, you can use kind of a cheat system that I've talked about a number of different times as far as your being able to interweave your system with pattern recognition to be able to accelerate the processing. So 3 different ways to do it. Let me say it again in a more clear, concise manner. We're going to talk about film. We're going to talk about index cards, and we're going to talk about on the field work that you can go out and do individually. And that's certainly more specific to the quarterbacks versus the offensive play calling. Although theoretically, if you were a super rah-rah guy, you could get out on the sidelines and fake it till you make it. But the idea being that we're going to give 3 tangible exercises to go out there and accelerate your capacity to process from the quarterback play calling position. So the first one we're going to do here is we're just watching film. And this is a random game. This is, what is this, Cincinnati, Miami. And we're just going to be able to identify the shell and coverage as fast as we can. Middle field closed. Can't tell if it's man or zone. Don't care. Now I'm watching this on Huddle. Obviously going with the expectation that you have Huddle. If you don't have Huddle with this type of film, whether you can watch your own film, you can try to get college film. Okay, this is universal middle field open coverage. Guys put up 2 hands like this. Whether it's quarters or 2, almost universal. You're going to get split field coverage with that. There it is. I'm going to take my word on it that I haven't watched this game. Well, that's a big boy play. Ooh. Big post versus half field safety. That's some bad safety play up top. Nice play from Ritter. That's a big throw, but you're never going to get that on a Sunday. Either way, we're not worried about the outcome of the play. We're just trying to identify the pattern in defense as quickly as we can. And again, you don't see a whole lot of that technique from a middle field player right there from 21. This looks like some iteration of middle field closed. Man, again, if you're worrying about is it man or zone, watch the technique on the slot. See how he's locked up, eyeball to eyeball? Again, doesn't matter. They don't care about the play. We're just looking for the pattern recognition of the defensive shell. So again, you could, if you're a play caller, you could do the same thing for the front. Again, middle field close technique from that number 2. That's not my favorite technique. That slot defender down here to the bottom of the screen, he's outside the number 2. Again, a little giveaway that it's middle field closed. Oh, just miss a corner up top. Little spot. Accuracy said what? Okay, 3rd and 6. This looks like split field coverage. Whether it's quarters, 2, quarter, half. Looks like a cloud technique up top. And so why is this important in your processing? Well, I guess it depends on your system, but if your system has any sort of open, close, man zone reads, this will accelerate your capacity to do it. And it's even harder in a situation like this where I don't know anything about Miami on defense. They could, they could be running anything. I have no idea what they do, but you can start to see even just in these few clips, the pattern recognition. So middle field closed, safety, they go from 3-by-1 to 2-by-2. They rock and roll the safeties. That's easy middle field's closed pattern recognition. Watch a few more here. And then again, I understand that not everyone is going to have all 22 film in Huddle like this. Let's see back if we can see that safety. See the safety put his hand up like this, up top 21. That's almost universal. I'm rotating down to the right. If he was do it with his left, it'd be to the left. Again, I like watching it on Huddle like this because you can see me kind of clipping to the next play really quickly, clipping through the end zone here. It's just easier than another way that I'll show you how I normally watch film through a different software. We get a little all stick here. Again, split field coverage. Pick the soft flat defender. Stealing. Not watching the end zone here just because it doesn't matter for our pattern recognition. Middle field closed, man. See the corner technique? I think it's man. Certainly man at the corner. And again, you can see here how you got to get used to not watching the outcome of the play. I think I skipped a play. The outcome of the play. Don't care about it. Don't watch the ball. Watch the shell. This looks like 0. Easy. All right, let's check out a different version. So this is how I normally watch film. This is through Adobe Premiere for most of this all 22 because I'll get it in single files. So it's a little bit harder to bounce around. This looks like middle field closed man. So you can see here I can't click to the next play quite as fast. So bear with me here. But this is how you do it. So 2nd and long. This looks like closed. Man. Maybe man. Hard to tell what the corner down here is doing. Doesn't matter. Easy to see middle field closed there. And again, this may be a little bit sloppier than what some of my normal YouTube editing is. Oh, this is an easy to tell man here. You see I'm guessing this guy's a backer type running out with the running back out here. Third and long. Middle field closed. Man. Well, this is old school robber. Got that safety at the bottom of the screen, right on the right of the A. He's coming down to play that hole player. Running variation of mesh. Oh, we take a shot. Love it. So you got a matchup right there. No idea what 19 is personnel-wise. Nice job by DTR. Again, just looking at the pattern recognition, and I usually will even play it in this speed. So middle field closed, man. Okay, so the faster you can play it, speeds up the game for you when you're watching the film like this. Now I got a double speed, maybe a little too fast. You can see the rock and roll. Looks like the rock and roll. The safety's there. Middle field closed. Again, don't care about the play. Don't watch the football. Watch the coverage. Watch the shell. Middle field closed. Looks like man. Oh, they have a mistake up top at the field. They both play the option route. Leave that seam. Doesn't see it. Sack. Yikes. But you can see here, middle field closed man, right? Down here at the bottom of the screen. Just because it's middle field closed man doesn't mean that there aren't mistakes made in the back end. So you're really trying to watch this as fast as you can. You don't care because you're not playing this opponent this week. You don't care about the tells, the personnel, the matchup. You just want universal understanding. How fast can you see it? How fast can you play it? And again, I get it that not everyone has access to film like this. And there are, for the people who are going to ask me, it comes from many different sources. But you can get all 22 film of different levels, whether it's the NFL, whether it's your level, whether it's high school. I'm sure there's some college available on certain servers. And so all of those things are available at some setting. If you absolutely cannot and you're a player, ask your coach if they have access to Huddle. I can almost guarantee that they could ask a peer who could absolutely get them college all 22 and you could watch it in the Huddle format. I personally prefer to watch it in Huddle because you can click ahead to the faster plays. That's just my personal preference. At the end of the day, you're trying to watch it as fast as you can. And the other assumption here is that you actually know what the coverages are. If you have no idea what the coverages are, or you can't kind of identify yourself and aren't confident enough in your capacity to do that, that's obviously a first learning step to be able to watch film like this. But again, I tried to say at the beginning, I'm going into this video with some assumptions of where you're at ball-wise here. And that's certainly one of those things. If you can't tell the difference between coverages or can't tell the difference between shells or techniques, then you don't want to start with this type of watching. This is really kind of the top tier when you're trying to take your game to the next level, elevate your capacity to process, whether quarterback or play calling. You want to play as fast as you can and really create artificial speed that's faster than the game so that the game feels slower. And that's what you can do with the fast forward, the going as fast as you can. That's really out of season. Out of season, you can do it to anybody, any film you can find. In season, I used to do the same thing, both as a quarterback and a play caller, to be able, with the opponent that you're going to be playing. So maybe, you know, the night before the game, you try to watch as many clips as you can, as fast as you can. So you're not watching the ball, you're watching the pattern recognition. And again, it's a little bit easier in season because you'll know opponent tendencies, you'll know breakdown percentages. You know, it's a lot easier when you know the breakdown of third medium that they're going to play, you know, all sorts of combo man-match coverage. Well, then, you know, if it's 75%, you know, you can have a pretty good guesstimate that that's what it's going to be. And you can start to interweave those types of stats, studying, understanding into how you watch film, how you practice. And so that's kind of the difference between out of season, doesn't matter who you're watching. In season, you probably want to focus obviously on your opponent. And it actually gets easier, I think, when you have the opponent knowledge because you're watching them all week. You're able to do deep dives. You start to understand plays. You can actually kind of get into the capacity if you watch the games enough to already kind of know what's going to happen beforehand. And so that just allows the game to then slow down for you. So that's the first part of it, how to watch film in season, out of season, when you're trying to elevate your capacity to process. The next ones that I like to use, this is more flashcardy. Again, I'm old school in the flashcards. I used to learn offense through flashcards. I think it's a great way to be able to elevate your capacity to master an offense in a really short amount of time. From there, so I would have the offensive flashcards that I'm already learning the offense in. I've got videos on the flashcard system. I would then have a defensive coverage flashcard. And so, for example, in the stack, and it's just off the top of my head, you could do whatever you want to do in whatever defensive language you use. I would have cover zero, a man free, and that's just 5-person pressure with man coverage behind it, basically no hole or thief robber player. I would have cover one. I'd have one robber, one lurk, just different who's rotating into that whole thief area. Then I would have cover 2, Tampa 2, cover 3, 3 buzz, 3 strong, whatever you want to say, maybe 3 weak, depending on how you identify coverage. Quarters, quarter, quarter, half, half, quarter, quarter, 5, 2-man, 6, 3 weak, 7, some iteration of brackets, 8, whether that's quarters for you or what. And then you can really get into all sorts of pressures as well. So either man pressures, zone pressures, 2 traps, 3 whatever pressures, and have all those stacks of cards. And so as you're learning the offense, so say you flip over an offensive card, this is the play, whatever, slant spacing for all you old school cats out there. Flip over cover 1. Well, you better know pretty quick. You better hit that slant or else this play is no bueno. And so you can do that for every play. And so you just shuffle the cards, whatever. 2x2, 4 verticals, quarters. Better throw the check down. That type of quick processing to be able to, you have to, obviously I'm making the assumption that you know what to do with the ball, the drop, all those types of things. But now you can play the plays with different coverages, and it's it's an easy way, in my opinion, to steal a lot of reps. Now, are they perfect reps? No. Perfect reps to me are at eye level, being able to play the play from within the pocket, those types of things, hard to come by. But if you're trying to create fast, artificial reps that can elevate your capacity to process, really, really love the index card trick. So you just make a stack of all the defenses that you'll face over the course of the year, over the course of your camp, if you're fighting for a spot, what your defense runs, if you're in like a spring ball setting, those types of things, and be able to just get as many reps as you can with your system and that universal defensive structure. So that's the second way, the flashcards. Then the third way, the way that this is more quarterback centric and that I really liked, I used to do it a lot, and this is where I think a little bit of visualization comes into it, a little bit more. And I love these types of reps because they're eye level reps, through the helmet reps, so to speak, is to go out on the field and really walk your reps. And so you basically start on the 10-yard line. And this is just a super simple way to do it. You could be more complex than this, but this is how I used to start doing it in this time of year, meaning super off season. At the 10-yard line, it would be cover 1. At the 20-yard line, it would be cover 2. At the 30-yard line, it would be a version of cover 3. At the 40-yard line, it would be some variation of quarters. At the 50-yard line, it would be 2-man. And I'd go down the field on both hashes. So whether you stayed on the right hash the entire time, or you stayed on the left hash, or you rotated back and forth, you would get the on-the-field reps. So you would do the drop, you'd go through the read, you'd go through the progression, and I would go through the play each time and hit each read on the progression. So let's say we're doing slant spacing again. So we're doing slant spacing. I'm at the 10-yard line, and we are at the right hash. So I've got the slant into the boundary. I've got the spacing to the field. I'm going to come up, take my 3-step drop under center, rip the slant. Okay, all of a sudden, come up the next time. 3-step, slant falls. Now I got to get through my read. Sit, hitch, not there, check down. Maybe I got to take off and run. That's it. Or you can go through the slant, no, sit, yes, 1, 2. Then you go through 1, 2, 3. Then you go 1, 2, check down. And so all of those types of things. So you all of a sudden get 4 really fast reps. You're working your drops, you're working your processing, you're working your understanding, your mastery, and you get to go through it each coverage. Now you could change the yard lines. If you play in the SEC, you could do, brackets every single one. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's the ability to be able to know how the read changes, where your kind of primaries might change based on what the coverage looks like, whether it's the shell, whether it's the man zone indicators. And so it's a nice way to be able to elevate your capacity to not only identify pattern recognition, get a lot of reps versus a lot of coverages, but also work your system. And because I don't know what your system is, you obviously have to tailor it based on, what do you call the most? What do you run the most? What do you work on the most? Maybe what does your installation look like the most for this week, for this part of the time of the year? All those types of things kind of blend together. But I love it because you get out on the field, you're visualizing, you're working your footwork. Now, obviously, again, massive assumptions here. Your footwork is correct. You don't want to go out there and do this and not know what the damn footwork is for these concepts, or be doing the wrong footwork, or have sloppy reps, or get tired, those types of things. But I love to be able to go out on your home field, work your craft, your system, and get a lot of reps that help elevate your capacity to process. So lots in this one. Hopefully you dig it. If you do dig this video, I really appreciate you sharing it, telling me what parts resonate with you, what parts work, maybe some other elements that I left out that you think could elevate your capacity to process from the quarterback or play call and roll. As always, I appreciate you hanging to the end. I will see you next time. Have a good one.